morning. I'm Kristen Miller, President and CEO of the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce, from Goleta to Carpinteria. We represent 1,100 members and 75,000 jobs in the region. Thank you for tuning in today to the Goleta State of the City. I'd like to thank all of our speakers today. We're grateful for our continued partnership with the City of Goleta and pleased to bring the business community this presentation featuring updates from the city, school district, business, and healthcare. Goleta is a beautiful coastal community with an industrial and high-tech core. Goleta's vibrant business community continues to enhance our quality of life, and the Chamber works hard to promote the business community and support the local economy and jobs. We're delighted to be here today at Rancho, Patera, and Stow House, a treasured community asset and popular spot for visitors and locals to enjoy Goleta's great weather and outdoors. Goleta benefits greatly from our visitors who provide the largest single source of revenue to the city to pay for services our residents enjoy. Although being outside in this gorgeous location is nice, we are eager to gather in person again with our members when the time is right. We'll continue our State of the City series via Zoom with our Santa Barbara presentation next month, but we're excited to announce that our State of the County event will take place in person in July. Since merging on July 1st, 2020, the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce has been busy helping businesses navigate these unprecedented times. We unveiled our roadmap to recovery in February, and we're proud of how our community has worked together to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic and subsequent economic crisis. We're currently working on our roadmap to recovery Phase 2, that will come out at the end of June and help chart the course as recovery continues. We want to thank our community for its resilience, energy, and solidarity during this time. We applaud you for taking necessary precautions, supporting local businesses, nonprofit organizations, and our schools. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our Chair of the Board, Kirsten McLaughlin.
Good morning. I'm Kirsten McLaughlin, Market Vice President for Cox Communications and Chair of the Board for the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce, from Goleta to Carpinteria. Thank you all for tuning in today for our Goleta State of the City. Cox Communications has been a longtime supporter of the region's chambers of commerce, and we are proud to be a returning title sponsor for this great event. Cox is a committed partner in the communities that we serve. By providing residential and business connectivity solutions, we continue to invest in the local economy and in jobs here in Goleta. Goleta is a high-tech hub and the employment engine of our county. Cox is proud that Old Town Goleta is home to our local headquarters, and we have a special attachment to this community. We are committed to making sure that Goleta remains a world-class center of innovation and that the businesses that are born and grow here are supported by world-class technology from Cox. As many of you know, we are investing in the Goleta community in a big way, renovating and rebuilding our Cox campus. The cornerstone of this project is a brand new critical facility, the building that holds all the back-end equipment and technology that powers our services throughout the South Coast. When the new critical facility is complete and online this summer, it will power the smart homes, businesses, and communities of today and in the future. The Chamber's vision of economic prosperity is similar. The mission of the Chamber is to advocate for responsible public policy, offer networking and community building opportunities, provide access to business development resources, and support visitors' services across the region. The Chamber is focused on many important issues that affect our community, with an emphasis on pandemic recovery, homelessness, and housing. Our newly merged chamber is proud to represent 1,100 business members and 70,000 jobs on the South Coast, and we want to thank all of our members for your continued support and resilience this past year. While we are sad we're not gathering today at the beautiful Ritz-Carlton Patera, where this event is historically held, we are excited we can offer a fantastic virtual program and delighted to have the following guest speakers today. From the City of Goleta, we will hear from Mayor Paula Perotte and City Manager Michelle Greene. From the Goleta Union School District, we'll hear an update on education from Superintendent Donna Lewis. Mark Linehan, President and CEO of Wynmark, will give an update on business and retail. And we will cap off the program with an update from our healthcare friends at Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital, Vice President Arie Dejong, Dr. Lynn Fitzgibbons, and Dr. Robin Malone.
Thank you, Kirsten. The State of the City series is one of the Chamber's signature presentations, and we thank you all for tuning in today to hear important updates from our local leaders. The Chamber provides informational forums such as the annual State of the City, and this production would not be possible without the support of our generous sponsors. We're extremely grateful for the continued and growing support from our business community from Goleta to Carpinteria. A big thank you to our generous sponsors that have made this production possible. Thank you to our presenting sponsors, Cox Communications and Montecito Bank and Trust. Thank you to our corporate sponsors, American Riviera Bank, Atlantic Aviation, Brownstein Hyatt Farber Schreck, Courtyard Marriott Santa Barbara Goleta, Decker's Brands, Exxon Mobil, Fleer Commercial Vision Systems, Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital, Marborg Industries, Marriott Courtyard and Residence Inn, Pacific Coast Business Times, Pegasus Transportation, Residence Inn Marriott Goleta, the SBCC Foundation, Signature Flight Support, SoCal Edison, the Tobes Group, UCLA Health, UC Santa Barbara, and Village Properties. We're also grateful for our supporting sponsors, who include Chevron, Community West Bank, Latitude 34 Technologies, NewsHawk, Pacific Premier Bank, Plains All-American Pipeline, the Santa Barbara Airport, Santa Barbara Independent, Ritz-Carlton Bacara. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our presenting sponsor, Montecito Bank and Trust. Please join me in welcoming Janet Garufas.
Good morning. My name is Janet Garufas, and it's my privilege to serve as the Chairman and CEO of Montecito Bank and Trust. And as presenting sponsor, a proud board member of the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber, it is my honor to speak with you today. I want to thank the Chamber for hosting this forum and commend Kristen Miller, her staff, and my fellow board members for their unwavering leadership this past year, not only in navigating the COVID-19 environment, but in artfully and skillfully bringing together the Carpinteria, Goleta, and Santa Barbara Chambers of Commerce. I don't believe there could have been a more fortuitous moment to bring the strengths of those three organizations together. A year ago, I would not have imagined that we'd be speaking to you virtually again, but I'm thrilled about our progress and our communities continue to make on the road to recovery from the global pandemic. Over the last 12 months, Kristen's leadership and vision has enabled her team and the Chamber's Board of Directors to do what a local Chamber of Commerce does best: advocate for their business community. From working tirelessly to bring forward as much information as possible in a timely and succinct manner, to ensuring businesses had access to the resources they needed, the South Coast Chamber has been a critical support system for the Goleta and Greater South Coast communities. They have renewed and established deeper relationships with many of you and grown membership to new highs. And as we continue working on the region's economic recovery roadmap, I know that as the voice of business in our region, the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber is eager to continue helping our business community navigate and make the most of this next chapter. The choices we make now to support our community members and our local businesses from the economic impacts of this pandemic will leave a lasting imprint on the future of the Central Coast. This is a defining moment for our communities, and it certainly has been a defining moment for Montecito Bank and Trust and our associates. Whether face-to-face in our branches or at home remotely, each of our associates has maneuvered through their own personal pandemic response to serve our communities, and they've been present in a way that is at the core of what community banking is all about. It is that teamwork and commitment to our communities that enabled us to work with so many organizations during the SBA's Paycheck Protection Program, providing more than 3,500 loans totaling over $320 million of PPP funds to businesses across the Central Coast. I have been incredibly proud to lead our team, and I'm certain a lot of you, business owners and leaders, have seen this same kind of camaraderie and dedication to get the job done in your own businesses. We are proud to continue to work alongside you. I look forward to the day when we can safely gather again in person, and all indications are that we might just be on the right trajectory to do that sooner rather than later. This has certainly been one of the greatest challenges of our lifetime, but I know that our communities will prevail if we stick together. And now I have the honor of introducing a very special individual and a familiar leader to the Goleta community, your Mayor, Paula Perotte.
It's my honor and privilege to speak to you today about the state of our city. After a year of turmoil, the state of the city of Goleta is stronger than ever. That may seem like a contradiction. In January 2020, the sun rose on a promising year with a booming economy, low unemployment, city projects being completed. We felt like the masters of our destiny, and the sky was our limit. But in March of 2020, the COVID-19 virus hit and a stay-at-home order was issued. We were soon humbled by this unexpected crisis. Public health was at risk, with uncertainty about a cure or precautions to take, plus a shortage of protective equipment and medical facilities. The resulting economic downturn brought lower revenues and job freezes and economic hardships to so many. Activities and travel plans were disrupted, schools closed, and isolation increased. This sudden loss of control humbled us like never before. Today, as things are looking up, we're also humbled and thankful for the magnificent ways everyone responded. So many people stayed on the job, especially our public safety, medical personnel, and other essential workers who risked their lives to protect us. Our city workers accepted our hiring freeze and took on extra duties to fill the gaps. Our staff managed reduced budgets to continue to provide vital services. Businesses provided the essentials such as food, water, and yes, toilet paper, implementing safety measures and takeout and delivery options. Many adapted to working from home. Teachers, staff, students, and parents adapted to remote learning. Healthcare workers cared for the sick and have worked tirelessly to administer the vaccine once it became available. Yes, families have lost loved ones, livelihoods have been significantly affected, and best-laid plans have been delayed. Still, I am humbled by the effects of so many to overcome this unexpected threat. So what is the state of our city? If we measure only by the traditional yardsticks, we might judge the state of our city to be lacking. The health and finances of many local businesses and families have been impacted. Our children have lost some valuable learning and socialization time. Many lives and activities were disrupted. So I emphatically repeat that the state of our city is strong because of how our most important resource, our people, reacted to the pandemic. We have been challenged and have emerged stronger than ever. The proof is in our phenomenal pace of recovery. Transmission and mortality rates are plummeting, and our healthcare system has improved recoveries. Businesses, restaurants, and schools are reopening, and many are returning to work. Goleta has continued to provide stimulus grants and vital public services, and we're retaining a significant reserve to get us through any uncertainties that may remain. At our core, the state of our city is strong in so many ways that we were never imagined before. Our fundamental resolve and creativity in the face of adversity. I believe a few public thanks are in order, starting with my city council colleagues, Mayor Pro Tem James Carriaco, council members Roger Aceves, Stuart Kasdan, and Kyle Richards. I also want to thank all of our community members who so generously contribute your time and talents to our city boards and commissions. I also want to acknowledge our city manager, Michelle Greene, for her leadership and for her guiding our city of Goleta staff full speed throughout the pandemic. We transitioned all of our services to a remote model and ensured that our community still had access to the services they depend on, such as electronic permit and plan submittal, virtual inspections, online payments, and virtual meetings. Later, Michelle will detail our city's financial outlook, actions, and plans we've initiated to help residents and businesses. We thank our Goleta Valley and San Ynez Valley libraries for their outstanding job of initiating a host of virtual programming, activities, and services. We are pleased to announce our libraries will reopen with guidelines in place on June 2nd. Time allows me to touch on only a few high points of our accomplishment. Our Goleta Public Works Department has been paving streets, maintaining our infrastructure, and completing projects such as the Old Town Sidewalk Improvement Project that increased parking and improved drainage. Up soon for Old Town will be the Hollister Avenue interim striping project to improve pedestrian, bicycle, and vehicle safety in the corridor and increase outdoor business and dining space. Public Works also completed the Fairview Avenue sidewalk improvements and San Jose Creek emergency channel repairs in advance of the winter storms. Significant progress was also made for the Hollister Avenue Bridge and the Eckwell and Fowler Road extensions to begin next year, the largest capital improvement in our Goleta's history. We're finalizing a more than $4 million paving project that will make needed repair on sections of Cathedral Oaks Road. To ensure pedestrian and bicyclist safety and safe routes to school, we have recently installed enhanced pedestrian crosswalks at Kyrie and Kingston and at Hollister and Chapel. Look for a new signalized crosswalk on Kyrie near Encina Lane soon, as well as 3 enhanced pedestrian crosswalks on Cathedral Oaks. We are working on the design of the $20 million San Jose Creek Bike Path project. Also, we are excited that we'll be saving money and reducing light pollution by reducing more than 1,400 old street lights with new energy-efficient LED lights. To help address our affordable housing challenges and our state's mandated regional housing allocation needs, we are planning our housing element update. We are also preparing in lieu housing fee studies to help fund affordable housing. We are also developing new housing design standards to maintain the character of our community. On the environmental front, we recently approved the Creek and Watershed Management Plan. It will enhance and preserve Goleta's many creeks as a resource for habitat, recreation, and open space. We are making big strides towards our goal of 100% renewable energy by 2030. Our major step is coming this October when the city will be enrolling in Central Coast Community Energy. This will reduce electricity costs for businesses and residents and increase renewable energy sources. We are working to bring solar carports and electric vehicle charging stations to City Hall in the near future to help us move to a fully electric city fleet. We are continuing to refine our new zoning ordinance to address the community's needs. We're also closing in on completing a historic preservation ordinance to preserve Goleta's historic resources that celebrate the history of the Barbarino Chumash. The pandemic has reinforced the importance of our parks and open spaces. As of May 1st, we reopened group picnic area reservations, including 2 new locations at Johnny D. Wallace Neighborhood Park. And we are finalizing construction plans for a new splash pad there, and also a community garden at Armitos Park. Also, look for playground upgrades at 3 city parks and new fitness stations at a 4th park. This year, the city removed dead redwoods at our cherished Stow Grove Park, and soon we will be planting 100 new trees. Plus, a new irrigation system was installed. Meanwhile, we are commissioning a phased plan to completely renovate Stow Grove Park. In the coming year, you will be seeing progress and community engagement on the Elwood Mesa Monarch Grove project, including planting more trees and native plants for butterfly habitat. The city is doing our part to encourage the monarch butterflies' return. Completion of the Goleta train depot, now in the design phase, is planned for 2024. And with California Coastal Commission approval, construction of Fire Station 10 is expected to begin in spring of 2022. Fundraising efforts are underway for the renovation and seismic and ADA upgrades to our beloved Goleta Valley Community Center. In 2022, the city will be moving to district elections for the very first time. To include our entire community in drawing our district lines, we'll be holding several public workshops over the summer, and I hope to see you there. The city of Goleta values a culture of belonging, respect, and connection with all people. In October of 2020, the City Council approved our own Destiny, Equity, and Inclusion initiative. We have a dedicated team working to make sure everyone can benefit from city programs, activities, and services. To address the challenges of one of our top priorities, homelessness, we recently adopted our first ever homelessness strategic plan. It will provide input, direction, and clarity about how to best serve the existing homeless population and those at risk of becoming homeless. We are working closely with the region's homeless service providers, the county fire department, Caltrans, and the Sheriff's Office to address this multifaceted challenge with the right support and services and humane regulatory tools. Regarding public safety, we want to remind residents to do everything you can to reduce your fire danger risk. Sign up for emergency alerts, be familiar with Ready, Set, Go preparedness plans, and go to sbcfire.org for more information. Thank you to the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office and the Santa Barbara County Fire Department personnel for putting your lives on the line to keep us safe. We thank you and appreciate the sacrifices you and your families make. We hope the community will stay connected with us. Our communication team works very hard to make sure you are informed about what is happening in our city. If you haven't already, sign up to receive city news with text or email, including our monthly e-newsletter, The Monarch Press. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Nextdoor. Also, please watch our many videos on our YouTube channel or Goleta TV Channel 19. And last but not least, I want to take a moment to congratulate our Goleta graduates in the class of 2021. We regret that you didn't have the senior year you had hoped for, but we are proud of you and wish you the best of luck. It is my honor to serve as Goleta's mayor, even during the most difficult times. After seeing all that we have accomplished and all that we are planning, you can understand why I am truly humbled and inspired by the way our community has pulled together. Our community persevered, found new ways to adapt and keep safe, continue our lives and businesses, and support one another. The superlative ways we have prevailed over this unprecedented pandemic has demonstrated that the state of our residents, and therefore this entire city, is indeed very, very strong. I'm convinced that the core community strength and resilience we demonstrated will continue to power Goleta to an even brighter future. It's my pleasure to now introduce to you our city manager, Michelle Greene.
Hello, I'm City Manager Michelle Greene with an update on the city's financial outlook and the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on city resources and the local economy. In 2020, sales across many business sectors declined. Hotel occupancy hit an all-time low and unemployment soared. This downturn impacted our residents, businesses, and city government as well. Since the start of the pandemic, city revenues dropped 21%, including sales tax revenue losses of nearly $1 million and a hotel tax shortfall of almost $8.4 million. In response, the City Council made budget revisions which included revenue reductions of $5.9 million, $6.8 million in spending cuts, deferral of certain projects, and a temporary hiring freeze that reduced our workforce by 12%. The City Council also authorized a one-time use of $3.1 million in reserves to offset revenue losses. With these reductions, the city's revised budget for the current fiscal year is balanced, with a contingency reserve of $8.5 million and an unassigned fund balance of $10.7 million in the city's general fund. Through our response and recovery efforts to date, the city played a significant role in aiding the community. In 2020, the city funded $1.2 million in COVID-19 relief efforts, including an emergency rental assistance program, individual assistance grants, shelter and rapid rehousing programs, meals for seniors, child care scholarships, and small business loans and grants. The city also adopted residential and commercial eviction moratoria, issued permits to expand outdoor dining, and provided additional warehouse space to the food bank. We worked with County Public Health to open a COVID-19 testing site at the community center and hosted a vaccination clinic for our most vulnerable residents. In addition, the City Council adopted an economic recovery plan to address the many challenges that local businesses, nonprofits, and individuals are facing. The plan provides a strategy to support our community as a whole and serves as a resource for recovery. Throughout the pandemic, the city aimed to reach and resonate with our community and launched several campaigns, including Goleta to Go, Good Land, Good People, and Recover Goleta. We also participated in the countywide Protect, Respect, Wear a Mask campaign, and our CERT team hit the streets as trained ambassadors to help guide our businesses on reopening regulations. As we move toward recovery, we ask you to support our Good Land, Good Shopping campaign and buy locally whenever possible. Plans are underway to augment this campaign with the Goleta gift card program, so stay tuned for more information on this creative new way to support our local businesses. Ensuring that the city has the resources to recover from the fiscal downturn is critical. To do this, we look at revenue trends, reserve funds, and other economic indicators to forecast the city's financial health. In the area of revenues, property tax is the city's most stable revenue source. Low interest rates, high demand, and low supply of properties drove sales prices to historic highs over the past year. As a result, property tax did not decline because of the pandemic, and next year it's projected to increase 1.7% for a total of $8 million. In addition, the high demand for general consumer goods and the growth in online sales kept sales taxes from falling more steeply. And as the reopening process continues, sales tax revenues are projected to increase by 15% and reach $7.3 million in the next fiscal year. While growth is predicted across all industries, increases will be strongly felt in the sectors most impacted by the shutdown orders, such as gas stations, restaurants, and hotels. The city's hotel tax, known as Transient Occupancy Tax, or TOT, is the most volatile revenue source for the city. Since the start of the pandemic, hotel occupancy rates have hit historic lows, falling to only 17% occupancy in the month of April 2020, a drop of 80% compared to the year before. Total TOT received in fiscal year 1920 was $9.2 million, which was a 20% decrease from fiscal year 1819. In the current fiscal year, occupancy has been around 54% on average. However, in recent weeks, occupancy has started to increase and is expected to reach an annual average of 60% by June. This year, TOT revenues are tracking to reach $8.6 million, a 25% decrease when compared to pre-pandemic levels. For the next fiscal year, average occupancy is projected to reach 72%, with TOT revenues estimated at $10 million. And over the last year, a new revenue source, cannabis business tax, helped offset some of the losses. To date, the city has issued 10 cannabis licenses, with 3 pending in the review process. 3 of the approved licenses are for storefront retail cannabis establishments. Given the uncertainty around this new revenue source, we're estimating total revenues at $2.6 million for fiscal year 21-22. There are other indicators which reflect the health of the economy in Goleta, such as unemployment rates. The Federal Reserve considers a base unemployment rate of 5% as full employment. In the Goleta area, unemployment peaked in April 2020 at 11.3%. However, job loss recovery is well underway in Goleta, and as of March 2021, the unemployment rate was at 3.9%. In the area of commercial real estate, low vacancy rates are considered favorable. In the first quarter of 2021, Goleta had vacancy rates of 5.9% for office space, 2.7% for retail space, and 5.4% for industrial space. Despite the impacts of the pandemic, these rates did not change significantly from the prior year and demonstrate businesses' continued interest in Goleta. Due to the Council's proactive cost containment strategies, the city's budget is structurally balanced, and we have maintained reserves and an unobligated fund balance in the general fund. But while the financial forecast looks brighter, we face challenges in keeping up with the city's aging infrastructure. While the city was able to weather the downturn and maintain a positive net operating revenue, it came at a cost of reducing the city's workforce and deferring capital maintenance projects. Without significant investment in the city's infrastructure and staffing levels, the city will struggle to keep up with the needs of the community. The city has significant unfunded priorities, which include deferred facilities and pavement maintenance, implementation of master plan documents like the Homelessness Strategic Plan and the Creeks and Watershed Management Plan, and capital projects like Fire Station 10 and the Community Center improvements. The costs of the needed investment in the city's critical infrastructure exceeds available revenue, with annual deferred maintenance costs at about $5.4 million and unfunded capital improvement costs now projected over $106 million. The City Council and staff are actively working on funding strategies, priority setting, and revenue enhancement options so Goleta can recover and thrive in the years ahead. We look forward to engaging with our residents, businesses, and regional partners on solutions to the challenges we face, and are hopeful that a brighter future for all community members is on the horizon. Thank you.
I would like to start by thanking this community and leaders for your tremendous support during a very challenging year. Thank you to the City of Goleta and City Council members, and thank you to our community partners, including the Goleta Noontime Rotary, Isla Vista Youth Projects, United Way, Girls Inc., Boys and Girls Club, Santa Barbara County Education Office, UCSB, and many others, as well as to all who have given time and resources to Goleta Union School District. Goleta schools are great schools, California distinguished schools, with one on its way to becoming a national blue ribbon school. It doesn't get any better than that in the realm of public education. This success is built upon fundamental beliefs and is strategic. Our mission is to maximize academic, intellectual, and personal growth in order for each student to prosper in and positively influence a diverse and dynamic world. GUSD has just over 3,200 students and 9 schools serving students in preschool through 6th grade. 39% are low income, 18% are Spanish speaking, 21% are English learners, and we have 6 foster youth and 3 homeless. We have 795 employees, and our teacher salaries range from nearly $54,000 to over $110,000 with a 185-day work year. The average tenure of our teachers is 12 and a half years. We are a community-funded district with a budget of approximately $60 million. 85% of our budget goes to salaries and benefits, 8% to services, 6% to books and supplies, and 1% for capital outlay and other expenses. On March 13th of 2020, our schools closed because of the pandemic. Our teachers and staff pivoted to remote learning. Many of us had never heard of Zoom, and yet that became the main pathway to connecting with students, parents, and staff to keep our programs running. Last summer, we drafted our safety plan outlining safety measures such as social distancing, cohorting, face covering, screening, and cleaning. We tested the air circulation at multiple sites and classrooms to determine that the air turnover in our classrooms met the minimum standards set in a study done by Harvard University. With doors and windows open, we far surpassed the recommendation. Going above and beyond, we purchased 250 medical-grade HEPA air purifiers for all classrooms. Since the pandemic began, GUSD has completed over 20 rounds of COVID-19 surveillance testing of all employees. Our partner is MRSO Labs. In total, MRSO has run approximately 7,000 tests, which resulted in only one positive. And now, over 88% of our employees report that they are vaccinated. With all of these safety measures in place, over 2,600 students returned to in-person instruction in March this year. We continue to offer options for families via our virtual programs as well, staffed with 30 teachers serving over 600 students in grades TK through 6th. We are also providing intervention and support to over 400 students with intensive needs. We continue to support our staff with essential childcare services and also opened up 3 after-school programs at sites with the highest needs. Next year, we expect to provide after-school care to over 750 students with 100 more on a waiting list. Our school nurses play a pivotal role in ensuring the safety of students and staff. They are responsible for contact tracing students and staff and making critical recommendations for quarantine and/or isolation. They also coordinate services with countywide medical practices and follow up with health screening. We also provide critical mental health services and other support to students and their families. We have a dedicated school psychologist on each campus, which is unheard of in public schools. We have a full-time licensed clinical social worker. Additionally, 4 interns serve 25 students weekly. Community liaisons support families to access technology, instructional materials, food resources and housing, and conduct home visits when necessary. And when students still have needs, we link them to partner service providers, including CADA, YMCA, IVYP, SB Neighborhood Projects, CALM, Family Service Agency of Santa Barbara, Center for Children and Families, UCSB, Holman Group, YouthWell, Girls Inc., Food Bank, and Housing Resources. To date, GUSD has received $1.9 million in COVID-19 relief funding from the federal and state governments. These funds have been used to purchase PPE, air purifiers, cleaning supplies, services, and staffing, and additional desks for the classrooms. GUSD will soon receive an additional $7.5 million, bringing our total relief funding to $9.4 million. These funds will be used for expanded learning opportunities to mitigate learning loss, provide ongoing meals, and potentially facilities upgrades to improve classroom ventilation. The single largest use of funds so far was to pay for half of the additional 21 teachers we hired to bring class sizes to no more than 19 students and allow for social distancing. Next year, we will hire about a dozen more teachers to bring class sizes down even further. We also hired extra support staff, including custodians, bus drivers, after-school assistants, playground supervisors, and additional substitute workers covering a wide range of positions. Access to technology became crucial to our remote learning initiative. We distributed over 3,100 new and repurposed Chromebooks to students and staff. Over 200 hotspots were provided free of charge from T-Mobile and checked out to families and staff to help connect to remote learning. These hotspots are still used to complete the asynchronous components of the current educational model. Technology services fielded thousands of phone calls and provided walk-up service and online support to families. Food was another critical area of need this past year as families struggled to survive. Our food service department has served almost 800,000 meals since the beginning of the pandemic. Meals have been served at all school sites plus the Goleta Valley Community Center. We also provided meals to Montessori Center School and Hope School District when their kitchens were closed, and both would like us to continue next year. In partnership with UCSB and the Santa Barbara Food Bank, we provided free groceries and food to families during Thanksgiving week and winter, spring, and summer breaks. We anticipate more such giveaways and always need volunteers to help if any of you are interested. Our student achievement continues to outperform that of similar districts. In an independent study by the Learning Policy Institute, GUSD was identified as one of 156 districts in California in which students achieve at much higher than expected learning levels. This study states that our students consistently achieve at higher levels than students from similar racial and ethnic backgrounds and from families of similar income and education levels in most other districts. We are proud of the academic achievement of all students in GUSD. This year, we proudly launched our first dual language immersion program. It was incredibly successful despite the pandemic. What an amazing thing to see our kindergarten students speaking Spanish, even via Zoom. We had so much interest for next year that we had to conduct a lottery. Another point of pride is with our new equity task force. We successfully piloted partners to train our employees and then have now agreed upon one for an expanded pilot. The equity work could not have been more timely with the current state of related national issues. And finally, our robust educational specifications and facilities master plan provided the foundation for the passage of Measure M. We are extremely proud that our voters approved $80 million in general obligation bonds with GUSD with a phenomenal passage rate of 71.32%. We thank the voters in our community for this tremendous support. Our first issuance of $5.7 million is on the horizon, and we are now accepting applications for an oversight committee. Please join me in thanking our phenomenal teachers, support staff, administrators, and trustees for their Herculean efforts in keeping our instructional program operating during the pandemic. And once again, I extend my thanks to this incredible community.
Hello, I'm Jeff Zamora, Field Service Supervisor for Cox Communications. I was born and raised in the great city of Goleta, and I've been a proud member of Team Cox here in the Santa Barbara region for more than 25 years. I'm thankful that I'm able to work, live, and raise my family in my hometown. Here at Cox Communications, we know our customers are more reliant on us than ever, with so much of our work, school, and personal lives happening virtually, and we don't take that responsibility lightly. We have invested $15 billion in our infrastructure across the country over the past 10 years, and we are currently investing another $10 billion over the next 5 years to enhance our network and enable future technologies, including many projects here on the South Coast. Given this unparalleled demand, we have accelerated many local network upgrade projects to meet needs now in these unprecedented times. As Kirsten mentioned, we are nearing the completion of our huge renovation project at our campus here in Goleta, which includes our brand new critical facility, which we will bring online this summer. In addition, we are upgrading, fortifying, and enhancing equipment and technology throughout our South Coast network so we can continue to bring you the cutting-edge technology resources you need at home and at your businesses to thrive in our quickly evolving world. As many of you know, we have also doubled down on our efforts to support our customers in our community this year. As of last week, we joined the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program. This federally funded program, which is part of the December COVID-19 relief package, provides financial assistance for internet service and is open to eligible Americans for a limited time. Eligible families may qualify to receive up to $50 off their monthly bill based on their current internet service and equipment rental, or up to $75 if they live in a tribal area. We raised our hand without hesitation to help administer the government's program and deliver whatever financial relief is available for however long in order to help our Santa Barbara area customers during this challenging time. For more information, you can be found at cox.com/ebbapply.com. And of course, we continue to work with our schools and nonprofits to bridge the digital divide through our Connect to Compete program and our local tech centers to ensure every student has access to the internet. Cox is proud to support today's Goleta State of the City event. Thank you to all of our speakers for sharing important information and insights with us today. It is now my honor to introduce Mark Linehan of Wynmark in the Camino Real Marketplace to provide us a retail and business outlook.
Good morning. My name is Mark Linehan, and I am a local Goleta businessman. And I'm here to talk about the state of the city. And certainly the last year has been both dynamic and in many ways devastating. Not only did we lose almost 600,000 people in this country, but the loss of jobs, the uncertainty that was created by the pandemic has been very trying, specifically also in our local community. There've been winners and losers. I mean, certainly a number of companies have been able to do well during the last year, but there have been many others that have been devastated. A large portion of the unemployment came from those lower paying jobs. The retail community, the restaurant community, bars, entertainment have just been truly devastated. Some 17% of all restaurants in America are no longer in business. That's 110,000 restaurants. We've seen many restaurants in Goleta, in the local community, no longer here. Beachside and restaurants such as that have closed permanently. That loss of jobs continues to be a major drain on the local economy. Many of those people that had those jobs have moved on. And we find today that as we approach a little bit of a recovery, those companies are struggling to find labor to come back and be available and allow their businesses to succeed. Specifically at Camino Real Marketplace, the restaurants have clearly had the challenges of uncertainty with the continual closing of restaurants, reopening of restaurants, closing of restaurants, which happened, in March of last year at the beginning of the pandemic, and then in July were closed again, and then in November closed again. Their ability to retain and attract labor for their companies has been difficult. But for the most part, they've all survived. We've at the marketplace continued to work with them. There have been certainly federal subsidies that have helped that process. And with that being said, I think that they will all come out okay. Certainly it's been a very trying year for them. With the university closed, with the majority of the companies in Goleta having stay-at-work home orders, so there's not really a lot of people around for lunch. Therefore, it's primarily a dinner business. I know online orders have increased. Pre-pandemic were like less than 10%, and today they're over 35%. But that's just a change. There's been a change in how people work in Goleta, how people shop in Goleta. As I mentioned earlier, with winners and losers, clearly the Costco's and the Home Depots are up 20% over last year. Meanwhile, the restaurants, bars, et cetera, have been truly devastated, and theaters still haven't come back. And we're certainly hopeful that in the marketplace the theater does come back. Like I said, I think most of the tenants in the marketplace, most of the tenants in the local community have been supported by the local community. And as the university comes back in the fall, hopefully that increase in labor pool will allow a lot of these tenants to thrive and succeed going forward. From the overall building community. Clearly, by the impact of seeing Home Depot's increase in sales, I think the average homeowner has been in the construction business quite a bit this last year. But most development is on hold pending the outcome of where the pandemic goes. Certainly, the outlook is positive. Vaccines are way up, and people seem to be getting more comfortable to be going out and shopping, eating out, and what have you. So I think we will see probably potentially more projects down the line, although as we all know in Goleta there's very little left to potentially develop. So the impact may be elsewhere. So with that, I would like to have my honor to introduce Dr. Lynn Fitzgibbons, who will be speaking after me, and thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Lynn Fitzgibbons. I'm an infectious disease physician with Cottage Health and a longtime Goleta resident. I'm here today to review what's been going on with COVID-19 in Goleta. Let's begin by taking a look at Santa Barbara County as a whole from the beginning of the epidemic last March until just this past week. Everyone remembers, of course, the surge last summer that felt so very big, but we now understand to have been relatively so very small. And this quite devastating winter surge that we all experienced in one way or another that thankfully is clearly behind us. As we review the impact that this has had across our community, I think an important part of the conversation has been on ICU capacity. ICU capacity has never been so important as it was last December, January, and February. We heard, of course, from our governor that the ICU capacity across the region of Southern California plummeted below even what we had available. And that happened, of course, at the end of 2020. In Santa Barbara County, we were more fortunate. We were certainly hit, and certainly hit hard across our healthcare systems. But thankfully, we retained capacity at Cottage Health and specifically at Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital to continue to meet the needs of our community. Again, in good news, while our ICU capacity certainly did decrease, we now are back to full operations. When we look at the number of new COVID cases across our community, we can of course drill down even to the Goleta Valley. And here we see a graphic that shows us the impact of the COVID-19 epidemic across our specific community. This is, of course, from the Santa Barbara Community Dashboard. We see that Isla Vista and the epidemic in Isla Vista has behaved slightly differently than the rest of the county of Santa Barbara. But generally across Goleta, as we saw across Santa Barbara County, we saw and felt that very severe winter surge and now thankfully are feeling some relief. If we choose to drill down into just these last 2 months, we can see what's really going on now. And the news is very good. Over these last 2 months, again here looking at the city of Goleta, the unincorporated area of Goleta, and Isla Vista, we see in these last 2 months that the numbers, of course, greatly improved from the severity of the winter surge. Even in the last 2-3 weeks are continuing to improve. Good news all around for all of us. And so some final thoughts. It's clear from this, and I think from everything else that we're hearing from our local public health department, health officials, that the condition of our community is indeed improving. That winter surge of 2020 to 2021 was remarkable in many ways. It certainly caused an extraordinary strain on our health systems and healthcare workers, but we've come through it stronger than ever. Santa Barbara County, including Goleta itself, has weathered this storm, and we are now all enjoying improving case rates, rising vaccine rates, and systems that have not been weakened but indeed strengthened by the challenge. I'd now like to introduce my friend, my colleague, our Chief of Staff at Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital, Dr. Malone.
Dr. Fitzgibbons has provided an excellent picture of our current status. While we continue to monitor the picture of what is actually happening locally and around the world, it is with gratitude and optimism that I join you today. This community has worked together diligently to protect each other, to prevent the spread of the virus, and to help people get vaccinated. We are safer today because of this collective effort. Goleta has been a vital hub in offering COVID protection throughout this pandemic. First, with COVID testing, in the early months of COVID arriving in our community, Pacific Diagnostic Laboratories quickly established an outdoor testing site adjacent to Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital. This testing helped protect our hospitals, as patients with scheduled procedures were tested prior to arrival at the hospital. The testing helped protect our community, as asymptomatic individuals were routed here by physicians and providers. Quick test results enabled families to isolate when needed to protect others. During our COVID surge in the winter, PDL test positivity reached over 16%. Our number today hovers around 1%. It's hard to imagine a January approaching 100 patients in one day hospitalized for COVID at Cottage, when in recent days the daily COVID census has been fewer than 5. At the height of the winter surge, PDL resulted more than 6,000 COVID laboratory tests in a week. Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital established the equivalent of a skilled nursing unit for medically vulnerable patients who needed a safe place for care when COVID outbreaks were occurring throughout our community. We've come so far, and this is a testament to the work of our community. Our healthcare team could not be more grateful. We are happy to welcome visitors back to our hospitals to support their family members and loved ones during their care. This has been huge for families, patients, and the care teams, and it couldn't have happened without the community's commitment to safety. It was December 2020 when we began vaccinating frontline healthcare workers. And on January 15th, Cottage opened its first community vaccination clinic in the Holopat parking lot at Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital. That first day, 500 vaccine doses were administered, and since then, capacity has expanded to 2,000 doses a day. These next few slides will give you a picture of what the massive and historic efforts look like. As the vaccine becomes available to more of our community's school-age children, we are encouraged by the protection our community is building by getting vaccinated and encouraging their loved ones to get vaccinated. We expect to reach 100,000 doses administered within the next few days, and we are one provider in this massive effort. As medical providers, we are committed to the health of our community through vaccinations and overall wellness. Maintaining health and preventive care is important, so we want to be encouraging you all to not delay any care that you need. We are here if you need us. Thank you to our city leadership, businesses, and neighbors for all the support and encouragement you've given us. We appreciate you. Now I'll hand off to Arie Dejong, Vice President of Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital.
Thank you, Dr. Malone and Dr. Fitzgibbons, and everyone on this panel today who is so invested in the health of our community. This past year has been the challenge of a lifetime for all of us. I've never been prouder to be part of this community that stands together in crisis and with resiliency. As we continue vaccination efforts to protect the community and help our city to safely reopen, we are also continuing to plan the future needs. Here are just a couple of updates as we look ahead. Cottage Urgent Care Centers are open in 10 locations throughout the Tri-Counties, including 2 in Goleta at Hollister Village, which is our very first location, and the Cayo Real Shopping Center. These centers have been warmly welcomed by all of you, and as a quick and convenient access to quality care. We're planning for additional urgent care locations this year, and here's a glance of these locations as they span from San Luis Obispo to Ventura County. As you can imagine, Cottage Virtual Care was a critical tool throughout the pandemic. And by having this service already in place before the pandemic, the team was able to flex and meet additional needs and serve this community. Cottage Virtual Care provided free online assessments for COVID symptoms and quick referrals for testing when needed. Work continues on a new medical office building on the GVCH campus to meet the expanding needs and services of physician offices in Goleta. And planning continues for design of the new Cottage Rehabilitation Hospital, including a new aquatic center at the GVCH campus. We are just very excited about this move to better serve patients within our beautiful modern GVCH campus. You'll see here just a few of the COVID response efforts, many of which are talked about today by Lynn and Robin. The Cottage Center for Population Health team is working with a group of community ambassadors who are visiting friends and neighbors in the neighborhoods and churches. They have been distributing COVID prevention supplies and tips and now our continuing outreach efforts to connect people to vaccine in a way that's convenient for them. We're trying to reach people where they are and where they live. We've added pedestrian and bicycle lanes at our Goleta Vaccine Clinic, and appointments are no longer needed to get a vaccine. On certain days, we've extended evening hours. It's an all-out effort happening throughout the community. As we wrap up, I'd like to recognize the extraordinary work of our local healthcare team and frontline healthcare workers, both locally and globally. As I walk the halls of the hospitals, I see the dedication and care that these professionals bring to patient care, and it's truly inspiring and remarkable. Also, to the more than 1,000 volunteers from throughout our community who have stepped forward to help our hospitals and the vaccination efforts, from nursing students to EMTs to retired physicians and nurses, we could not do this without you. It's an honor to be part of this community and to work alongside you. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you to all of our speakers and all of you for tuning in today. We look forward to connecting with you all soon.